Boning and rolling a leg of pork here for roast. First thing I'm doing is taking that hock off because that needs to be slow roasted, so it's not going to be suitable for a 20 minutes pound roast. Next we're taking a little bit of meat that is on the H-bone. Then we're going to remove that H-bone. It's basically like your hip bone. I'm no doctor, not since that court case anyway, but I'd say it's kind of like your pelvis or half of it. So we're just removing that very gently, making sure not to go too deep with the knife because we don't want to cut the meat underneath. So we get rid of that bad boy. Now you can tunnel bone or you can just kind of butterfly it out. I'm going to butterfly this one out. I just like the way it gives you the roast. I can make the roast a bit more what we call high standing, like better carving off it. So I'm going to do that by removing this bone here. Again, I'm no doctor, not since that court case anyway, but I think this is your femur. I don't know. I just know that as the bone that's in the leg of pork. So same type of thing, we're taking it out, just using the tip of the knife, going around. So we're just removing the bone, not the meat or that precious crackling. We want to leave all that on there. So there's a nice clean bone we've thrown out. So I might bring that home to the dogs. Now I'm just going to seam this out a bit, which is where you cut basically the membrane between the muscles rather than the muscles themselves. So that's what I'm doing there. I'm going to remove any heavy fat or membrane in there because just people don't want it in the middle of the roast. If it was me, leave all that fat in there. I absolutely love it. I just removed the membrane. There's a little bit of tailbone I'm going to nick off there because it wouldn't be very nice in cooking. Next we've got to score the crackling. It just helps it render. So again, we're not looking to go too deep, just the tip of the knife. Personally, I prefer if the leg of pork had a bit more fat on it than this. As you can see, it's kind of hard to score it without going down towards the meat. Normally we just want to expose the fat and leave the meat untouched, but there just isn't an awful lot of covering on this particular pig. The customer wants a lean roast, so when they want a lean roast we say no problem. Do you want it lean and left or lean and right? And do as we're told. Now so we're going to start tying it up. Unfortunately I ran out of time on this video, so you won't see the whole thing. Basically I'm just kind of spacing out, trying to make a nice even roast, and I want to have my twines kind of an even enough length apart. So what I'm doing here is just kind of elongating the roast, if that makes sense, so that we get the best possible carving off it. You don't want one big ball, it's just be awkward to carve and you get massive slices. So I normally kind of space out a few and then I'll go between them. The trick here is to not pull it too tight, because otherwise if you pull it too tight, then when you cut it, the whole thing just goes to bits because everything is just squeezed out.